Hello, it's Davy Mooney coming to you from UNT, where I run the jazz guitar program, Benedetto artist, Sunnyside Records, and the new record, y'all, Way Back. It's out. It's on all the streaming platforms. You can get a hard copy at Bandcamp at Sunnyside Records. Yeah, the new Mooney CD. I got 2 Mel Bay books, Personalizing Jazz Vocabulary and Into the Labyrinth, an Anatomy of Position Playing for Jazz Guitar. And yeah, it's early July here in Texas. It is very hot. I just got back from a month in South America where it was beautiful. Argentina and Brazil. Doing some gigs, hanging out, going to the beach, going to see Corinthians, seeing Zé Celso play. But that's not what I want to talk about today with you. I want to talk about another tune from the new record. I did a video for the title track, Way Back, and I want to talk about the song Doom Scroll. And it was funny in Brazil and Argentina trying to explain in my Portuguese and also my Portanhol when I was in Argentina what doom scrolling means, you know, when you're on your phone and it's late at night. Especially during COVID when it seemed like it was all bad news, the world was ending, etc. And yeah, so I wrote this song, and it's a pretty straightforward in terms of the form. It's a 32 bar, like, I guess you could call it AABA, but definitely like 4 8-bar sections. Each A is slightly different, but they have a similar vibe, but harmonically a little different. And I realized, well, when I was writing it too, but also just in general, it's kind of there's some Bach in there, you know. I didn't study classical guitar that. Well, I did study classical guitar. I didn't study it so much that I'm any kind of expert in music of Bach or anyone really in the classical realm. But I remember there was a lute prelude that I worked on back when I was a student here that was really like important to me. Excuse me, my development technically on the guitar. And also with Fred Hamilton, shout out to Fred Hamilton. As an undergrad here, we would go through the Bach sonata. Oh, here it is. We would go through this book, the sonatas and partitas for the violin, and just play through the material, not as if it were a violin piece or a classical guitar piece, but as a jazz guitarist, and try to maybe work in some open strings, work in some things to kind of make it. I sort of try to make it all sound like an open chord, you know, when I'm playing through those things. Of course, I don't really ever have the time to perfect them, but I like working on them with students. And Doom Scroll definitely has some of that influence, as does In This Balance of Time, a song I did on Benign Strangers. But another influence for Doom Scroll, and I'll show you the song in a second, but I really love the tunes that Sting does with Dominic Miller, like Shape of My Heart and For Her Love and St. Agnes and the Burning Train, all those beautiful, I guess Fragile is pre-Dominic Miller, but those kind of classical guitar sounding pop songs, ballads, and things that they would do. So Doom Scroll, it's in E minor, and it starts like this. It goes E minor, D sharp diminished, which is kind of like B7, A minor, C minor, then kind of, in this chord I still kind of think of as an E minor, but with B in the bass, or you could call it B minor, the flat 6. You know, that's like a Queensryche Metallica chord, and then C sharp 7, sharp 9, F sharp minor 11, kind of F sharp minor 7, flat 5, to F major. And that's the first A, and it's just rhythmically, you know, the melody is just dotted half notes. And I was just trying to think a lot about, I guess, counterpoint. I don't know. It's not always necessarily contrary motion, but I like that bass movement. second A starts the same. Second chord it's really the same chord. It's F sharp diminished. So it's kind of like D sharp diminished. It's still sort of B7, and then E minor over G. This is the part that I guess sounds a lot like Dominic Miller's Sting song. And then C minor again, but in inversion, you know, sort of C minor first inversion, or E flat 6, and then sort of G major with D in the bass. Then this chord that I use a lot, I call it A2 over C sharp, like an A chord in first inversion, but with that B in there, kind of a Steely Dan chord. C major 7 sharp 11. So the first two A's. So, you know, trying to create a mood, a kind of a sense of doom, but also hopefully of beauty, and that bass motion, bass and melody relationship. And then the bridge, A minor, but it's, you know, I like this voice, and again, it's sort of that two chord, or A minor 11, and then C minor 6, but also I like to have that dissonance between like the A natural and the melody and the B flat down there, so like A minor again, B7 sharp 9, B flat major 7 sharp 11, F sharp, F again, that's the bridge, and then the last A. Kind of like the second A, pretty close to the second A. But then this time, the last few chords, E minor 7, that A2 over C sharp again, and then the last melody note is a B natural. So the whole song. That's the whole song. It's a good one, kind of like Way Back, where you can really, you know, pass it out as like a lead sheet at a sound check, or even for people to sight read, because it's pretty straightforward, I guess, in terms of form, and it's a waltz, and obviously the melody's not that hard to read. But harmonically, it's a little deceptive. It's when I feel like I have songs like Way Back has a lot of chords. I have songs where each chord you have to, you know, deal with each chord as it comes, and then other songs where it sounds like there's a lot of chords, but there aren't as many as you think, because I use a lot of inversions and things like that, and you can kind of zoom out on certain sections. So a lot of this, like, first part is really sort of E minor, and then not E minor, or 5 of some kind of, E minor, 5 of E minor, A minor, again that's kind of like a 2 chord, it's definitely a subdominant chord, and then C minor. As I've said in a lot of videos, I think of like that C minor 6 as kind of being like a 5 chord in the key of E minor. So E minor, 5 of E minor, 2, minor again. I guess that's like a 6 chord to 5, but it's the tritone sub. Then the second A, E minor, 5 of E minor, kind of 5 of E minor again because it's C minor. Then this is kind of E minor, it's G major, E minor relative, and then the sort of 6 chord again, or this is almost like an A7. It's not really that different if you're going to think of E minor as E Dorian. This is still kind of a Dorian chord, and then C major, which is also kind of like a subdominant, right? Like a C major is kind of A minor. It's like a 4 chord, 2 chord, and then the bridge, that A minor, subdominant 4 or 2 to C minor again. Again, kind of 2-5 almost. 2-5. Then the B major 7, B flat major 7 is kind of like it's deceptive. I don't know what that is. And then 2-5. So it's really a lot of like E minor, not E minor. E minor, 5 of E minor, E minor, 5 of E minor, E minor. That A major chord, it's kind of a A7 almost, and then C major again. This song, kind of the challenge for me is the slow waltz ballads are kind of tricky for me. I had one, I've talked about this, I think when I was talking about Ugly Beauty, I had one on the last record called Angela's Sad Song, and it's hard, but I have to always be conscious of the mixture of duple and triple rhythms that I bring to the table, like to get the right kind of feel. It's almost like the, because if I go to this place, I kind of have to bring it back. If I go to that 16th note place, at some point I'm going to have to bring it back to that. It's important to bring it back to the triplets. I have my 16th note and my 8th note language and way of treating these tunes that I'm never going to depart from for too long, because that's my stuff. But it's important for me on this type of waltz ballad to really, and on other tunes as well, the mixture of duple and triple rhythms. So, not to belabor my point, but you know, the perfect notes. This is one of those songs that I tell students, you know, if I try to get real clear about what I'm actually trying to do when I'm improvising, it's just find those perfect notes. And that's informed by chord scales and arpeggios and all that other stuff. But somewhere in all that soup of the notes themselves and the rhythms, that matrix of double and triple rhythms, there's the perfect notes in the perfect place with the perfect phrasing. Maybe that's obvious to say, but that's really what I'm searching for. So I'll play a few more courses on this with a track and play the melody. It's the track that I use to practice the song. I make these little, you know, voice memo recordings on my phone with a metronome, and that helps me stay in shape playing these tunes. So get the new CD, y'all. Check it out. Hard copy, you know, did a lot with the design. I really like the design. It's also streaming, Sunnyside Records, way back. All right, Doom Scroll. Hope you enjoy it.